I am the doorbell DevRel. I decided to record content on my Ring doorbell instead of making hyper-polished SEO-friendly buzzword content only other marketers care about. I'm going for low-tech, high-impact content that serves people, not search engines, you know. As it turns out, creating videos with your doorbell is quite messy. Recording on a device that isn't really made for recording, getting the footage on your computer, editing it, fixing the audio, cropping it, it all mounts up to lots of effort. Funnily enough, making a video look low effort is actually super complex. To make the process faster, I decided to look into what I could do with AI. You can actually get very far if you choose the right tools and stitch their unique features together. The last 10 or so videos I did were all fully generated with AI. From my face, to my voice, to the background noise, to the script. I can even do it in different languages. Watch this. In het Nederlands heb ik een beetje een bekakt accent, maar het werkt prima. Et en français, mon accent est encore pire, parce que je n'ai pas entraîné le modèle vocal avec des sons français. Je trouve que l'accent est plutôt charmant. Now that we know that all these videos are AI generated, we can also conclude Tim is basically just a lazy asshole that didn't want to fiddle with his janky doorbell. Let's dial him in so he can explain how he used Vue, Nuxt, Contentstack, 11 Labs, HeyGen and Clouidinary to automate his content generation pipeline with as little code as possible. I'm sure he'll try to show off later by asking you all to write a script so he can create a video in real time and post it to LinkedIn.
Hello everyone. So this was a really interesting way of getting on this stage because I'm talking to Nikki, who's doing our production, and she's like, "You're on now," because I cannot see the stream. So thank you so much for having me. This is the first time since 2019 I'm not on the stage and I'm actually here in my home studio. And so it's really awesome that this was like accommodated for me. And I realize my face is probably really big on your screen right now. So how about we just go and share the screen? So it's slightly less daunting. And so, of course, you all guys just saw our video, right? And so, because I'm virtual, I can kind of force you to like watch a video. So the context has been set. And so, generally, my type of talks are not really like the ones you saw just before me in the awesome Nuxt blog about like, hey, this is how you do that stuff. This is all the new things. This is more like me using that stuff to show you maybe something that might inspire you to do the same with. And so I'm using Nuxt UI, just not the third one. So not version 3, so I probably have to rebuild some stuff. I'm using Nuxt Content, Nuxt Studio as well. And so I'm very excited by all these updates. Anyways, let's talk about the doorbell DevRel. Let's see if I focus here, if this all works. I am once in a while going to check my WhatsApps because Nikki might be sending me something. So I work at Developer Experience Lead at Contentstack. And so Contentstack, for the people who don't know it, it used to be like one of those headless CMSs out there that you use for work, but now it's kind of expanding quite a bit. It's much more like a platform with a lot of tooling for your content, so from automations to a bunch of other stuff. And so we'll talk about that later in a little bit. But so I'm no longer actually a Vue developer, but I'm more like helping developers use the tools and of course VueJS and Nuxt to build the best apps. And so I am still an ambassador for all these lovely places, and I'm very proud to be one for Nuxt, especially because this whole conference wouldn't be as awesome without these guys. And so of course, as an ambassador, you get all this swag, right? But I didn't have good pictures. And so this is the OG Nuxt sweater, I think. And I have a bunch of those. It's just kind of fun to just look through your photos and find some stuff. And so my accent might be slightly strange to you. And so I am from Amsterdam, born and raised, very close to where you're sitting right now. But I live in France and I work with Americans. And so you kind of, all my languages are kind of mixed. And that's what you're hearing right now. And so let's get into this talk. So creating good developer content is like super, super hard. And so because developers basically face this. You are constantly in battle. You're constantly having to figure out what choices do I make? Do I use Pina Colada or RStore? If you saw the talks yesterday. You're constantly dealing with bugs, with different changes to deadlines, all that stuff. And so you also all the time get asked, what do you like about this? Want to try this thing? And so it's people like me making content for you to kind of figure out how do we make you choose something. And that tends to be really crappy content. So the more you see this, it's all like buzzwords and SEO and high production value and kind of, I used to do all that stuff, and it's no longer for humans, right? It's all just for search engines. And I was making a bunch of that kind of content that was like super perfect, lovely studio or written down for SEO perfectly. And as it turns out, other marketing teams would just look at my stuff and then copy that. But actually you, my audience, didn't actually read any of it. And so this really high production value aesthetic is just really not working. And so I promise we'll get to Vue and Nuxt soon, but let me just tell the story for a little. And so all this super fancy, like people from my age on Instagram used to have like all these super fancy, highly curated pictures, right? None of that works anymore. And so I changed up my whole content game after I just posted this on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn at that point wasn't even my main platform. I just kind of for work, I had to be on LinkedIn. And so this doesn't have that many impressions, but I got like maybe 50 DMs of people like, hey, what's that camera? What is this thing? This is so fun. Why did you even post this? Like all that stuff. And so I thought maybe I have to do something with this, right? And so what I feel like is most important now is only high value. Doesn't matter how it looks. It should be real and down to earth, right? And so this whole novel realness actually really works. And of course, for the last couple of years, if you look at TikTok, none of that is actually fully scripted or fancy. And the ones that try to do that don't get that many views. It's just, take my phone, I speak. The same should work for developers. Like, let's talk about some real stuff. And so most of my videos now are of my doorbell, and they're only like a minute long. And so the funny thing is, if you look at the amount of likes, it's not that high. But I get DMs and people know me from them, and I always talk about them. That's really kind of this novel thing. And half of it is jokes, other half is like actually hopefully teach people something, or based on the comments, I learn something. And so this is a very different paradigm. And so based on the video that you just saw, you know where this is going, right? But I realized, okay, let's see what happens if I record on my doorbell. What steps do I need? How is this different? And so I just had to walk up to the doorbell and hopefully it would detect my face and start recording. And I tell you, it doesn't always. It's kind of crappy. And so then also, while it's recording, please don't crash, because I really need this video. I need this to work. And then finally, you open the phone app and then you hope that it actually stores locally, because I don't have a camera that stores it on the cloud. I really don't want that. And so most of the time, this was me. Because you want to make one of those videos that's super like, you walk up with your dog, or you just did some groceries, you want to tell a tacky joke or some fun thing, super spontaneous, right? Doesn't work. And so that just needed to change. And this is now where things change, right? Developers are lazy. We always build things. And I'm a developer, right? So where does this go? Well, the objective would be, how could I build an app that creates a doorbell video and I just go on my phone and do it? Like my last video, I actually made on a plane. And that was the objective. Make this thing simple so I can scale it, right? And of course, we're going to use Vue and Nuxt for that. That's the only way forward for me. I really enjoy these tools. And so, especially with Nuxt UI, I still use version 2, but holy moly, it's almost like doing web development on easy mode. And if you look at how this whole conference is right now, everything is about performance optimization, making things just work, don't have to know all the things about like all the underlying runtimes, VueJS talk. Things just kind of work. And that's why I love this ecosystem. So of course I'm going to use this, right? And so let's talk a little bit about how I built the app that I built to make my videos, right? And then once we've done that, we'll actually just go in and demo the thing. So these are the parts that I'm using. And so first, Contentstack. And I could have probably gotten away with this with a few other tools like Nuxt Hub, but this one actually gave me a lot of extra freedom. And so the point is for Contentstack, like I said in the beginning, people think it's a headless CMS, but it's kind of evolved a lot. And it's similar to, if you look at AWS, by Amazon, they are like a CDN provider essentially, but it's, well, that's what you think. It's more like a cloud services provider. They have a bunch of different features and tools for you to do stuff in the cloud, from serverless functions to databases to security, all that. Contentstack is a platform like that, but for your content, right? So they do automations. There's something called Brand Kit, with just a bunch of AI for you about your content. It has a hosting platform called Launch, which basically competes with Vercel and those kind of companies. It of course has CMS, but it also has a personalization engine. It has a developer hub, so you can build all kinds of apps to kind of run on this platform. So this is a really handy one for me to use, because the whole point is to write less code and do more with the tools that you have. And so then I have HeyGen, and HeyGen is actually the AI company that makes these videos. This avatar of me, like the insane deepfake that you just saw in that video, that's me through HeyGen. And then I use 11 Labs, because AI voices are really hard. Because if you remember that slide where I have all the 3 different cheeses, my accent is super weird. And so if I just use the HeyGen voice cloning, it just could not figure out what my voice was. And so I actually trained 11 Labs on its own. Like, I think I did like 2.5 to 3 hours worth of me just speaking like this. And so it would be able to train a model specifically on my weird accent. And so that is then connected to HeyGen to make these videos. And then I use Clouidinary a lot, because as it turns out, and you'll see that in a sec, you cannot just use one of these AI tools and then get the best result. You have to use all of them separately, find the best thing, and then connect them up. And in my case, that's what I do with Clouidinary. So I use Nuxt UI, and it's hosted on Contentstack Launch. This could have just as well been on Nuxt Hub, and I've had it running on it, but I work at Contentstack, so I'm going to use Contentstack Launch for you, right? And so it's exactly hosted the same as it would be on Vercel or Netlify, and it's on the CDN Edge, all the same features. And so I manage all these videos in there, so I create new ones, I edit them, and I also have avatars, because if you've seen these videos, I have like 5 or 6 different Tims that are used. So I manage those in this app as well. And so I then used Contentstack's API orchestration, which is essentially its automation tooling, where you can just call a URL. It does then it does a whole bunch of things for you, and then it either returns or it just, fades out into the void and having done some things. So in this case, I can query Contentstack Brand Kit. And so Brand Kit also has that 3 hours of voice that I gave to 11 Labs, but then written out. So it has a whole knowledge vault of who I am, how I speak, about what things I like to speak. So I can prompt this to create me a, like a script for one of those videos, and it will return it in how I speak. It will literally just use the same stop words as I'm using now. It will use awesome and all that stuff, right? And so that's really handy. And I think that's just ChatGPT in the background, to be honest. Then we have 11 Labs API, to make that voice happen. Then we have the HeyGen API to create a new video with that script and that voice. And then we have Clouidinary to put it all together. And so a video has kind of like, it's not just one video. It's actually 5 or 6 different pieces that we put together with Clouidinary. So when this runs, now you see an intro file. And you see a background noise. Well, you don't hear that now. And there's a vignette on top, the black ring. And so only after that you have the video and the voice. And all these 5 things together make this video for what it is. So this is fully dynamic. And so we use Clouidinary to make that happen. So let's just go quickly into how that works. And after that we have like, 15 minutes to just fiddle and try some stuff. Because I also have some WebSocket stuff that Seb was showing, but then doing it very differently. But anyways, so that intro file lives on Contentstack. And so that's literally just me walking up to the camera. I just cut that out. And so that's the intro that's fully real. There's no AI there. But it makes you think this whole video is real because that part is real, right? And so the video itself is generated by HeyGen. and then stored in Contentstack. And it uses webhooks, like when I kick it off through Contentstack's API orchestration, then it tells HeyGen, hey, make this thing. And then when it's done, it calls another automation or a webhook to Contentstack saying, hey, this is my video, save it now, please. And then the voice is created with 11 labs, which is then connected to HeyGen. So actually the order of this slide is slightly off because HeyGen and 11 labs are connected together. So I don't connect them separately. So HeyGen just knows about, hey, use that voice that lives there. And then the background noise, I've had to add a background noise because my voice sounds exactly like you hear now, which is way too nice for a video with an outside camera that's really crappy, that has compression and all that. So I've generated a background noise that sounds like the background noise of my house if nobody is speaking into the camera. And which is then, of course, also added to the Contentstack assets library. And then in the end, all these separate parts are taken together in Clouidinary. The vignette is added on top with a little effect of Clouidinary, and then that's your video. And so I wanted to emphasize this a little bit because this is quite crazy. There's lots of like composable bits flying around, right? But this is the level you have to go to actually get it in that quality. And so literally that whole video is a URL like this, right? So we have our base URL of Clouidinary, and we just make it 720 by 1280 because I want it to be a low quality. So then we add the intro into the URL and also crop that. And you can see I cropped the bottom with the Y0 there because I don't want the HeyGen logo to be in there. They're kind of silly adding that logo, but anyway, so we crop it off. Then we add the vignette, and that's just an effect in the URL. Then we add our background noise, and then we turn down the volume of that so it just kind of interferes a little bit with my actual voice. And then we add the video and its audio, and so this URL is fully dynamic, and that's what connects everything. So I think it's time for a demo, isn't it? And so, of course, in the time of AI, we can make this fun meme that we always use, but now make it an insane video. So let's just have a look at the interface that I built. And well, let's just do that now. Let me just quickly check my WhatsApp. No, I think we're good. All right, so basically, I built this website. And so this is the front end, and there's also an app version that we're going to dive into in a second. So this front end, and the people with a keen eye will have also already seen that this is Nuxt UI, right? We recognize this from Nuxt.com. Somehow my mouse hover doesn't work anymore. I have to look at what's happening there. But all this was done with Nuxt UI, and it just works so well. It's literally easy mode. And so there's just this fun, like there's a few fun features here. And so, of course, I also use the Nuxt auth utils. And so I can log in. Don't even try because it only does my account. And so this is the app that I built. And so you can see here are all the videos already that I've done. And so what I think we should probably do is just, I'll make one now, and then we just talk over how this whole API orchestration bit goes. Because that's where all the magic is. Because actually in my code base, I have hardly any complicated code. There's not even many environment variables because that's all in the API orchestration. I just have to post something somewhere with a body. The rest happens. And so that's what makes this so easy to do. And so here you can see I have a bunch of different avatars, right? So this is all Tim's. I also have one in my office. I recreated this one. So I was about to prank you by making a video like this and just putting that on here in the stream. But yeah, that wouldn't be fun, right? But I could. And so you can see there's all these API, like these IDs for HeyGen. There's an 11 Labs voice ID. And I can also say, well, let me connect to Clouidinary and get me like my background noise here. Like I can select some stuff. And so it's all kind of connected up that way. And so, well, if we just make a new video, we can then select an avatar. Well, let's check the one with the baguettes. And so you see it automatically selects which intro I use and what the background noise is. And so let's go here. Oh, so what I can do is either I just write it down and it works, or I can actually ask AI to write me a script. Let me just, I don't even know what this, well, let me just query. So now we are actually querying Contentstack, and well, that was pretty fast. And you see, this is kind of the way I speak. And so it's the holy grail for developers, you know, all that stuff. And so it just created this for me. And sometimes you make it longer. It depends what you want to do. And so now I can just hit create. And yes, there's one of those little pop-ups that Eduardo doesn't like. Anyways, that works in this context. So here we're now processing. And so while we wait for this, let's just have a look what just happened. And so when we actually go to my code, in my server here in the API, there's a few things. So there's this avatar new. And the only thing I do is actually I query here contentstack.com automations API. And I just say to that URL, send the body of this new thing. And so there's a few things in that for a new video, right? So if we go to new video, there's these fields are just being sent essentially. And so if I wanted to update, this was actually the avatar, but the video is very, very similar. In this case, I didn't just send body, but I actually do a little bit of checking and send slightly more. But there's no logic here. It's literally just, oh, I'm getting the stuff, I check it a little bit, and I send it off. And for that, this is the one, for example, for the AI script. It's literally just give me this, post it, and wait for the response and do something with that. And so that's just a super fun and easy way to code because all the knowledge is actually here in Contentstack. So let's just go to my automation and see what's happening. So let's have a look at our execution log. Okay, so it made a new video entry, and here it asked for brand kit, right? And so this brand kit one, you can have a look at the code. So this automations tooling in Contentstack is basically Zapier, but for content and for crazy development stuff. I can go into what that looks like in a sec. And so here, I prompted this, and it returned, well, you can only see the prompt now, because there's no output field here. But like what came out is essentially that field, what you just saw. And so now, we also did the new video. Well, let's just go to HeyGen and actually see what's happening behind the scenes. So, let me go to my project. Oh, it's 87% ready. This is my video being generated right now. And so this, when it finishes, it sends a webhook back to an automation here. And we'll see when it comes in. And then it does a whole bunch of things inside the CMS, so I can query that and show it to you. So while we wait, let's have a look at how this actually works. So let's do like a fun and complicated one. So this update video is actually fired when HeyGen is ready. So almost. So normally I have to not make it active so I can click in and show you some stuff, but let's wait with that because, okay, so this is now done. Let's refresh the list. Okay, so it's currently working. It's always fun when this is live, right? Is this actually working? Ah, it failed. Only when it's live, right? Okay, so it doesn't find the file. The image file hasn't been written yet, I think. So there's sometimes this discrepancy that I just didn't take into account, where if an image file wasn't uploaded yet by HeyGen to Clouidinary, sometimes it cannot run this thing. So let's refresh. Okay, now it's actually successful. So now you see it worked. So now the image file was generated. And when we refresh, here's our video. And so you can see it just puts all these things together. And then here we have this. If I wanted to play this now, I'm not sure it will work because I'm not sharing audio at the moment. But what we can do is I'm looking at the time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nikki, but I think I have a few minutes left. And so rather than now watching this one, let's make one with the audience together. Because I talked about WebSocket, right? Also, I have 9 minutes. Okay, let me just think. There's many approaches we can take here to show you this video. First, okay, let's do it like this. I'm going to show a little bit of how this looks in the CMS and also how Vue UI actually works incredibly well in this whole thing. Because we can go to a page and then this is our homepage, right? And this is actually, this is Nuxt UI. And so I can actually visually edit all this stuff. And so this is kind of a fun one where this is like that hero that we use all the time in all the talks. And I just used slots and added a few things, and now I can just do everything I want. So this kind of looks like Nuxt Studio, right? But it isn't. It's very similar on how it works. And so I just wanted to quickly show you how cool it is to do this with Nuxt UI, because this was so easy to build and so fast. All right, I just wanted to get that out of the way and show you. So what I think we should do is make one of those videos together. You guys can fill out the script and I choose one, and then we can actually see the result. Let's see, where is my keynote? So what I want you to do is please go here on your phones, or it's the dub.sh/doorbell. And so when you go here, I'll leave this up for a second. You just get like your name, and you get a script you can type. And so I want you all to start typing a script, if you feel like doing it, obviously. I'll pick the best one, and then we actually make it happen. I'll now go back to the browser and show you. Let's see if this is actually, well, it's not that fast. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Here we go. Of course, this one, of course. And so this is actually also using WebSockets, just not the built-in one from Nuxt. And so in this case, I'm using Pusher and one of those automations in Contentstack, where what I'm actually doing, oh wait, I'm just getting distracted by this one. I really do love SAP. We'll go back way back. We did big projects together, good stuff. Anyways, this is using Pusher. So every time you hit save, it sends an automation to Contentstack. And then Contentstack sends something to Pusher that says, hey, there's a new thing. And then here I'm opening a WebSocket and listen to it. You see, there's kind of, look at this. There's kind of a lot of stuff going on here. Stroopwafels, of course. Oh, there's so many. The toast component, yep. I love it too. I use it all the time. I should have actually put it on here, so every time a new one was there, a toast would come up, but that would be too much. Let us just have a look. Actually, I should probably do this one, right? Because it can do Dutch and it can do English. Let's see if it can actually do that in the same time. That would be so fun. Oh, this is also cool. Well, how about we just do it like this? We'll just do both. Okay, let's make a new video. And we will choose this one. Okay, so of course we're going to say this one, right? But I also want this one. Okay, this feels good. And so this is just, honestly, it feels like what I'm doing is vibe coding because I use all these other tools and I just connect it with Nuxt and Vue. All right, so this should kind of do it. There's your toast for you. Okay, let's refresh the list. Would be nice if that had worked, right? Let's have a look. Did that just not happen? Oh, it could be that you guys are constantly sending new messages and it's just borking now. It's not exactly made for this. It can do like 100 at the same time, I think. So maybe just, stop that for a second, please, and then we try again. Oh, well, that's not exactly working. Here we go. Oh, of course you're going to try to hack it. I know. Just don't. Oh, where is it again? Okay, we're just going to take this one. just for the people that are making me very uncomfortable right now, I'm just going to turn this one off. So let's see if it works. Because I have, how many minutes? 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Okay, here we go. I did not anticipate you guys writing so many that my automation is borking. All right, so let's have a look at HeyGen to see if it's working. Okay, it's processing. Yeah, so now we're at the mercy of this very young AI company that might not have a lot of servers in the cloud. So potentially, this is not happening yet. So the new video entry actually happened. Oh, so it might have worked. Vibe coding. All right. Well, we're right on time because there's literally 2 minutes. So I copied this, and here we go. So I know I have to remove this for the audio. And so I know I have a very short time. Oh. Is this it? All right, let me share my screen in a way that I can actually give you some audio. Here we go. Share, tab, share. All right, here it is. This is your video.
Big Shungus ate some bitterballen. Why did the Vue component go to the doctor? Because it had a computed fever and couldn't stop watching its symptoms.
All right. Well, that was kind of, it worked. It was kind of strange. It didn't have the right pause. But anyways, thank you so much. I know my time is up. And thanks again for the organization to letting me speak to you virtually like this. And have a great time at the conference. And next year, I'll be there in person. Cheers, everyone.